Hello everybody, here Rene from Spain with a new video. And this video I make it specially for a guy that lives in Romania, but of course he has Hungarian blood, and his name is Csaba. I hope so I say it right. And he's a very nice chap that I know from the internet, and he's very much into heavy metal and power metal and stuff like that. And he asked me already a long time ago to make a video about some progressive power metal bands, you know, especially from the USA. But I'm gonna show you some stuff, but not only from the USA, also from other countries in the world. And I hope so you like this video, Csaba, and other people that are into progressive power metal. I'm a fan of the records I'm gonna show. I like progressive metal, but it needs to be metal, you know. I don't like, for example, progressive with a little bit of metal. You know, I want metal with progressive. You know what I mean? I don't know if I explain myself right. You know, the most important thing is metal, and then later the progressive part of it. And of course, progressive is a style I like, because especially nowadays I like it more than when I was younger. When I was younger, I wanted just straight heavy metal. You know, I wanted simplicity was for me very good, because you know I didn't like the complex structures of guitar riffs, the strange way of drumming. You know, I want everything to be straight. You know, like straight to the point, simple and easy. But now when you get older, you know, I don't know why, but I like it more, you know, I like it. And I even like technical death metal nowadays more than I liked before. For example, here we have Aborted with a quite great brutal death metal band, but like also they have some progressive touches in the guitars and in the drum parts. And I think that's very cool, you know, they're very technical. And nowadays I like that more. Before I only liked old school, you know, death metal, you know, like simple and straight to the point death metal. But anyway, this video is about progressive power metal and heavy metal. But first I'd like to start with some of the bands that influenced this type of 80s and 90s progressive power metal. And I'm talking, for example, about Araya HEEP. Look at yourself. I mean, this has a lot of progressive influences, of course, in here. And of course, this is just the band I love. Once I will make a video about them. And of course, one of the most you know, one of the most important bands in progressive rock and heavy rock is obviously Rush. And I want to show their last album, the last studio album that they released a couple years ago. Yes, time flies, 2012. It's a killer record. And also once I like to make a video about Rush, because I'm also a fan of the band. Then also we have MAGNUM. You know, later they became, you know, they changed style, of course. You know, like Vigilante. That's for example more an AOR and hard AOR record. But this has a lot of progressive and symphonic metal. Hard rock, heavy rock. You know, it's more like rock. Very good record from the, you know, from the late 70s, I think this was, or 1980. Then we have a Spanish band called KNELL. You know, and this is a band with a lot of progressive, especially in the first records. KNELL, check them out. And then of course we have Kansas, another band I like very much. And these also have a lot of progressive, you know, and of course symphonic parts too. And this influenced for sure a lot of the bands I'm going to show. For example, Dream Theater obviously are influenced by Rush or by Kansas. And this record is released in 2009 already. Unbelievable, the time flies, it's amazing how quick things goes. And this is just a very good album by Dream Theater. You know, I'm not a big fan. I mean, I own quite a lot of CDs by them, and my wife owns the older part maybe. I think we have all the collection complete. You know, but you know, but sometimes I need to listen to this stuff. You know, sometimes I need this stuff. Good. Then we have Fate's Warning. Of course, this is less progressive than later on. For example, this album has a lot of more progressive parts in it. This album from 1997. And this is just, you could call this power metal with some progressive parts. Another album I like very much of the same type of style is Eternity X. Yeah, Zodiac from 1998. This is also very, very cool. A lot of cool guitar parts. Another record that was very important to me back in 96, I think this came out, or 95, 4 Dimension by Stratovarius. I mean, what Timo Tolkki, the guitar player, does on this record, it's just unbelievable. I love it. Then we have this band, SCARLET, RAYNE, Theater Humanitarian album, and this came out in 1990, I believe. And this, of course, very much influenced by bands like HEIR and Queen's Rise. Talking about HEIR, I want to show you this CD, and I want to show you this one too. This is my favorite HEIR CD. It's just amazing, amazing. If you are a Crimson Glory, let me say, Queen's Rise fan, even CULPRIT, I mean, you will like this album very much. It's just very, very good. I mean, I love it. I love it. Talking about CULPRIT, I also want to show you this, because this is, of course, heavy metal, but also with progressive. It's very cool, you know, a lot of strange drum touches to it, and it's a great record from 1983. Talking about Crimson Glory, I already showed all my Crimson Glory stuff, but this was their comeback album from 1999. Nice progressive power metal. Then Holocaust. Of course, this band started like a new wave of British heavy metal bands, but this album has a lot of progressive elements, and I think it's not my favorite album by them, and you need to listen to this a couple of times. And that's what always happens with these progressive power metal or heavy metal records. You have to play them a couple times before they really suck into your brain. And that's what happens to this record. You have to play this a couple of times, but it gets better and better after each play. Arion, their first album by Arion. It's a real rock opera with a lot of guest musicians. I bought this when it came out. Yeah, I really liked it. And it has a lot of progressive parts, of course. In the keyboards, in the guitar playing, in the drummer, you know, it's all progressive. Very cool. Energy Vampires. This is also quite a good release. This is a release with old stuff by the band from 1985 and 1990. And this was officially released in 2008. You know, power metal with some progressive. Talking about Queen's Rise like I did before, Queen's Rise is a very important band, of course, if you talk about progressive heavy metal and power metal. And this album have a lot of those elements. I mean, this is probably my favorite album by the band, Queen's Rise. Very good. Empire. Another very important band, but more in the underground, they never really made it. Oh, I forgot to get Mystic Forces out. I mean, Mystic Force is another band that I like very much. That also play progressive power metal, Mystic Force, but I don't know. I don't think I can find it in my collection now because it's somewhere there. You know, that's why it's going to be difficult to find it just now in this video. Maybe in a different video once I will show it. Mystic Force. Anyway, this is Steel Prophet, and this band recently came back because they stopped for a couple of years. And this is a nice album. I think I own everything by them. Only one, the last one I don't have. It's a good record. Progressive heavy metal. Very good. Okay, another band I have to show when we talk about progressive heavy metal, power metal, is Royal Hunt. You know, and this is of course a masterpiece. The album this album is very important, I think, in the history of the band. Paradox, and this is a limited edition on 2 CDs. So it's quite cool. Then we have Labyrinth. This is a very good album by Labyrinth. This is the first album from 1998 and has a lot of progressive elements. I mean, other Italian bands like Skylark, for example, or Heimdall, or Mesmerized, no, not really. It was more straight metal. Rhapsody, they also have a lot of progressive parts, but they were more symphonic. That's why I don't really want to show them in this video. But this one has some more in the guitar part, some more progressive parts. Also, this Spanish power progressive metal band had some cool progressive parts. They only released this album and the demo. This came out in '97. And then I want to show also some CDs, also for Chaba of course, but also for a guy from India, and his name is AVIJIT. AVIJIT. I don't think I say it right, but he asked me to show some progressive thrash metal. Of course, I have also a lot of progressive on vinyl, but on this video, I forgot to tell you, it's only about CDs. I only want to show you CDs. And I got some of this thrash, progressive thrash metal out of my CD collection to show AVIJIT, Siam. Maybe I'm not saying it right. I don't think I say it right. One of them is MAYADOME. This is a nice, let's say, thrash power progressive metal CD, with 10 songs, and this came out in 1996 on Roadrunner Records. I'll put all this in the subscription. Everything what I'm showing will be in the subscription. If we talk about progressive thrash metal, also I have to show some of Flotsam and Jetsam, because they changed. Of course, they started like a power thrash metal band, speed metal, and then later they became more and more complex. And this album has a lot of complex parts. That's why I would call this a progressive thrash metal records. This is from 2011. FORTE. This is more like a power progressive album, but it also has some thrash metal elements, of course. This came out on Massacre Records, and it's from 1994. And this is actually a classic, in the genre. FORTE. They have more records out, but this one is very good. And then, the last one is Hitman. These guys started, on the first demo, they started like a typical power US metal bands, like Obsession, like those type of bands, But later, they developed into more a thrash metal with their debut album. But this is their second album, and on this album, they went more progressive. It's a progressive power thrash metal record. Hitman. Vivas Machina. Okay, this is everything I want to show you guys. Everything will be in the subscription. Did I show you this one? Oh, I forgot to show one. Okay. Heavenward, sorry. I forgot to show this one. This is also power with some thrash metal riffs, but also quite progressive. Okay, this is everything I want to show. Stay heavy, everybody, and check this stuff out, Okay, take care. Take care.